Yeah, you're one of our earliest believers. So we want to share with you some very exciting news throughout this presentation that we're not going to be disclosing in public immediately. So it's going to be trickling down. So we want to share with you some of our future insights, a lot of things that we have to reveal. And we have one major update that we want to that we're saving right to the end, and that we're going to be revealing it there. So please stay for the entire presentation. I know we scheduled an hour and 15 minutes, but I'm going to try to get through it much sooner, right? Aiming for less than an hour, most certainly, and perhaps even quicker than that. Okay. Just go through. Okay, so here is a quick understanding of our table of contents. To start off, we're going to just shed light on, again, just reminding you very briefly about, our background, why we're doing what we're doing, our value proposition, and also where we see ourselves in the competitive landscape, which is often like, new entrants coming in, and it's always evolving and changing, as well as our accomplishments. So once we kind of talk a little bit more about kind of where we're at as a company, we want to go into the forward-looking, the future of the company, right? Talking about our roadmap as well as our marketing plan. Next step is the reflection, right? So it's interesting because I like to tell a lot of the people on our team that really us as a GameFi project, we are writing the playbook in a lot of ways, right? Where and all of you are experiencing this, obviously with the crypto downtrend, as being investors and players of in the field of GameFi, experiencing the first crypto downtrend in history in the making in this industry, right? So we want to share with you some of our learnings, and I think it's just healthy, like sharing back and forth, because new insights derive from people in our kind of within the trenches is always good to take action on. So the last part that leads me to our call to action. So how can you support us more? And obviously by supporting us more, we all win, right? And that's really what we're the big thing that we want to end off today with, is how do we all win big? And when we first pitched, we have some lofty ambitions. We've pivoted, but I would say in many ways, our ambitions have even grown bigger than what I've previously mentioned. So how do we kind of collaborate and work together to reaching this goal? And lastly, we're going to leave it open to questions for anyone to ask away. Okay, so let's go to the first section now. So really at face value, obviously we're a horse racing metaverse. But I think the most interesting thing about Oly Sport is that we're tackling three major world problems. The first being related to the job market of COVID, the virus being here to stay, as well as soon to come singularity and AI putting people out of jobs. We're solving that issue. The second is that we all know dealing with banks suck, whether it's lining up the teller line, transaction fees, all of that. We want to create an alternative. And the third is that there's a huge barrier to entry today in investing in real estate. It's one of the most lucrative investment assets, yet one of the most expensive and most prohibitive to get into. How we do that is through our GameFi play to earn model. Investors can play our game, own NFT to drive passive income, as well as engage in DeFi mechanisms like staking and lending to earn an income. We're here to create a thriving virtual economy for our players. And on top of that, players have an opportunity to win real land, not virtual land. They can invest in virtual land, but that's going to be backed by real estate in the real world. So let me share with you, because during our last conversation, at least our last formal investor conversation, you've heard a lot of words, but not a lot of visuals. So I'm really excited to share with you this video here. There you go. So I hope you guys were as excited and have a sense of the proud feeling as I have when I see this. And truly, you know, like the first time when we met, this was all just in our heads, right? This is all just in conversation. So to see something so physical, it really makes me excited and feeling like we've accomplished something in the past 6 months. And really, what direction is that towards, right? So let me share with you our vision. What that is to unite humanity under a common thread in order for us to work together to solve the global challenges that lies ahead of us today. And really, how we're going to do that is to unify both the global financial and real estate markets within our metaverse, where gamers can race to earn for a living without ever having to get a job again. So a little bit about our vision, right? So although we're looking at horse racing, really our ultimate play is a disruption of multiple industries, be it gaming, finance, real estate, corporate governance, as well as the overall employment market. All this in one play, changing the way people live, work, entertain, and invest. And beyond all else, we intend to be the first metaverse in the world that will allow virtual land ownership that is backed by real land, real estate, creating security for both investors as well as our players. And when I talk about tokenomics and specifically our crypto economy, I mean it when when we mention that we're looking to essentially replicate and enhance what the current economic structure is in real life and putting that into the metaverse. To start, this is a little bit of a diagram to show you exactly what we mean by a crypto economy, whereby if you can see here, the center of the economy is Oly Racers. And this is any activity that has to do with horse racing, horse breeding, trading horses. And if you can maybe make a comparison, all other horse racing games, they purely reside in the center. But what we want to create is a relationship between all players, all play styles, and playing opportunities in our metaverse. Whether that's virtual landlords or the farmers that own land, the people that we call Olypreneurs who own shares of percentage shares of racetracks, the virtual employees that may not be investing but are spending time helping every other job profession, as well as all of this supporting our investors. That's our token holders, that's our people who invest in the horses. All of that is going to be supported. So we have many ways to make revenue because of this extensive model. The first is revenue through racing and tournament tickets. The next is any transaction fees and taxes that we have, whether that's players trading different items, purchasing vitamins or accessories for their horses, any number of these microtransactions. whether that's through our NFT sales, be it the 30,000 NFTs that we have for horses, our percentage of NFT race courses, as well as our virtual land. Or, and this I am actually just revealing today for the very first time, the betting pool. We are not a gambling company. We do not do wagering just like other horse racing companies in real life. However, we will put out an API so that externally people can use that and on a third-party site conduct their own wagering. The reason why we're not doing wagering is because we want to be a global brand with a penetration in all countries across the world. And lastly, our revenue is through mini games within our ecosystem. I'm going to explain a little bit more about that after. So really, what we've realized, and I didn't know this going in, but what we've realized is that we have one key, I guess, trump card that no one else has in the metaverse world and in the horse racing metaverse world. And really what our value proposition is that we're a horse racing metaverse, but we connect with the real world. So I'm going to say that again, okay? We're a horse racing metaverse that connects to the real world. And because of that, we are in the best position to transition the entire horse racing industry into the metaverse. We intend to do that by connecting NFT horses with real horses, NFT land with real land, and to connect NFT racetracks with real racetracks. What we realize is, we always want to understand what is compelling them to reach out to us, because we're not the only players in the game. So what we learned is that we are actually in a very interesting position market-wise, that although there's games that might be more developed than ours, like Zrun, right? Or games that's been out and first out in the market, like D-Race, right? Who's been done marketing 6 months before us. They chose us for the reason that I'm going to describe here, right? So essentially what really separates us is two factors. The first is realism. So the majority of our competitors in the market actually falls more into the cartoon-like, fantasy-like design scheme, okay? And you can see that very clearly in the visuals here, right? So the challenge with that, and with people who actually own racetracks and horses, is that they can, you can imagine, like, these are very wealthy people in their 50s, 60s. They're not the type of clientele that's going to want to play like a cartoonish video game. They want the real life experience. So if they were to engage with a company, they want a company that can actually showcase their racetracks and horses in the most realistic way possible. So for that very reason, really, we're the only contender in the market that can support that. And on top of that, we're the only players in North America. And it just so happens all of these partners, like, they're very interested in working with people within the same continent. We do have another contender, a Win NFT horse, but I think the biggest differentiator, and if I haven't made clear already, we're in the metaverse business. We're not in the horse racing business, right? Whereas the other ones within the bottom tier, they focus mainly on the racing element itself. So if you want to see kind of a comparative scope based on features, really our competitive advantage is in scope is in three elements, right? So it's the real life graphics, the metaverse and crypto economy design being more sophisticated than anything out there in the market today. I can put my name down for that. And lastly, no other company has or even is even beginning to think about it, is having the first metaverse to have virtual land backed by real land ownership, right? No other horse racing metaverse is even considering this approach to their business. So all in all, I'm sure you can understand, like, we had some worthwhile milestones, right? Be it our testnet phase 1 and phase 2 launching, right? Having very positive feedback from that, getting listed on a second DEX on Uniswap, having penetration now into the Vietnamese and Chinese market, where we did a lot of hiring on regional community managers for that very purpose, and also local community marketing events, having endorsements from celebrities like Lindsay Lohan, Kevin O'Leary, who's one of the most well-known billionaires in North America, as well as getting onto Binance NFT sales, being #1 trending during that time, #1 collection, and top 2 within November, as well as hosting an AMA on Binance, right? So you can go through the numbers, right? I'm not going to get too much into it, but I do want to highlight one that has only happened within the past I'd say week and a half, is that our holders literally more than doubled, now at 12,000 Oly holders, right? So we're very much focused on driving community right now. I can go, Alex will go more in detail of that on why we're achieving these results. But we're ramping up community because we're about to launch our game. So now let me take you into a future look, right? What does the future have entailed for Oly Sport, and what are our plans to really seize 2022? So I'm going to hand it over to Alex now to discuss this next part.
Hi, everyone. So let's look into the roadmap and see what we have to offer in the upcoming quarters. So for Q1 and Q2, for feature release, we're going to be releasing Meeting. It actually already happened and people have already seen the horses and everyone is super excited. But for the later waves of the sales, we're actually launching Meeting later today as well for the Wave 2 ticket. We're launching VR for races, a horse care and horses aging cycle. So all of that is going to happen within the coming this quarter and the second one. Testnet number 2 already happened. We just finished our round of 1,200 racers for today, and the tournament prize that we're giving out is $50,000, and that's a huge prize. There was a lot of community effect on that, and the winner for the prize is actually someone from Russia. It's very exciting. And we are launching testnet number 3, which is going to be an improvement on everything, on all the feedback that we have received from testnet number 2. And we're focusing on sponsoring local tournaments because our goal is to get into all other markets that, outside of Vietnam and China, and try to bring Oly Sport to as many community as possible. In terms of events, we are launching horse care mini games. So for example, there will be mini games within the game that you can learn how to grow some corn for your horse or how to feed them. We will be introducing stables that are inspired by real life legendary horses like Pink Lloyd, for example. We're in partnership with, we're in talk with a few other horse owners. So it's not just Pink Lloyd, but there's going to be a stables with, legendary horses like Pink Lloyd. We are also still in talk with Binance NFT to finalize a time for a race course IGO, being the first NFT race courses to be sold on Binance. And we're going to continue selling on Genesis NFT horses, whether it's on the Oly Sport marketplace or is it on Binance NFT or any other reputable marketplace that we have. Moving on, continuing Q1 and Q2, in terms of partnership, Jimmy mentioned already, there's a lot of strategic partnership conversations that are happening with renowned race courses and champion horses, which I cannot disclose for any reason, but whenever the deal is finalized, you will be the first one to know. We are launching the Minute, which is one thing that everyone is excited and looking forward to, and that is about to happen in March. We are also launching Oly TV, which is an application to track races and horse news. In terms of listing, we will be listing on, I'm thinking, and it's not confirmed, it's either a centralized exchange platform or another DEX by the end of March. So that's the plan. We're still aiming for a central exchange platform, but we'll see how the market is doing at that time. For Q3 and Q4, what we have here is improving and completing the ecosystem of Oly Sport. So launching Oly Land, launching Oly Bank, and integrating all services that we have in terms of, real estate or financial services. And by this time, all the features that we have in the game have already been introduced. And our job here is to improve the user experience. We're going to be launching a mobile app to make it easier for people to play. And AR and VR in horse care will be introduced. For promotion, by Q3 and Q4, more like Q4, I think that'll be a better time for us to start partnering with betting organization, sport betting companies, so that we can share open API with them and they can do the betting on their site. So that means we're still not allowing betting in our game, but we can have, a stream of revenue from there. We actually have been approached by a few betting organizations, but it's just not the right time yet for that. And lastly, we will continue promoting all the tournaments with huge prizes and also launching esports races promotion. Okay, moving on to marketing plans. So end of Q1 target, our goal is to reach 2,000 monthly active user and to be selling 5,000 horses. Our target market here, we have really identified those 3 target audience for the game. So number 1 are the crypto investors, and they are located in Vietnam, China, Philippines, and Turkey. Number 2, we are targeting online horse racing fans. So people that have been playing, horse racing games online for like tens of years, and they are most likely located in Canada and Australia. And lastly, our target audience is horse racing gambler. We're not targeting them right now, but we have identified them to be a potential audience and locating in Korea and Hong Kong. Our strategic approach will have 3 things. Number 1, educational content. So whether it is user created, Oly Sport created, or created by a KOL influencer, the goal here is to have as many materials in as many forms in media as possible about Oly Sport. So that's a way for users to understand about the game and learn themselves like how to be a part of the metaverse. We will be increased accessibility and trials, because the game is pretty, it's simple, but the ecosystem is very complex. So we'll be building trial game mode. So people who are new to blockchain games or GameFi, they can learn how to play easily. And lastly, we want to attract as many people to join the game as possible. So we will be selling cheap horse pack. So right now, I would say our average horse deal is around like $500 to like $2,000 per horse, which is a huge financial barrier to people that want to join the game. So people can either rent the horses at cheap price, or they can also buy the lower bloodline level. And the flow of the marketing plan for us is to attract new users, whether through AMA, through partnership, through promotion, running advertisement, doing airdrop. We want to get as many users as possible. And once they become a community member, we want them to try out the game, and then have them to get excited with the game, buying and renting horses, and end up racing and become an Oly holder. Well, we will be having a market making team to support us with all that activities, just so our price is going to be stable and it's not dipping any lower. And in fact, with all the good news we're pumping out, we hope that the price will eventually go up. And our goal from now until the end of Lunar New Year is to increase our holders to 25,000 people, and keeping our trading volume from 100K to 200K a day.
Wonderful. Yeah, sorry, I just want to go back to this. I just forgot to mention with the Series A fund, all of this literally happened within the past 2 weeks. And since then, like, this is what we've kind of scrummaged together, as well as creating a pitch deck for it. But things aren't solidified yet, so there are going to be additional updates. So like really stay tuned in the next little bit to hear like what are the major updates. And just while you're thinking, I'm going to ask you closer to the end of the conversation, but like, how can you support us with this? Because obviously if we do a Series A, like everyone wins in this room here, right? So just keep that in mind. Okay, so the next section, I love talking about our fuck ups and and major learnings, right? Like I always say, like, fail once, that's great learning. Fail twice, you're an idiot, right? So at the same thing, at least. So we always like to learn from our mistakes. So let's be blunt, right? The market is shit, and we're learning from it. And just this is a graph of like some of the projects that I guess like in a similar space, GameFi. Even if you want to look more macro in terms of like the Bitcoin or Binance market, everything's in downtrend. And the interesting thing with the GameFi industry is that we're really the first to hit the to get hit, because it's just so like it's such a new industry that is the most volatile, right? And people have the least amount of trust in it, versus Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies where there's a lot more history behind it. So as you can see, this is why we're impacted so much. So that takes us to a couple of learnings that we've had, right? And first and foremost is you can't fight the macros, right? You just absolutely can. And it just it was a personal challenge for us as well, because literally, so if you recall one of the meetings we've had, our goal, and I was like, when I tell you our goal, like I mean, like I intend to hit it, was that we wanted to get to a billion fully diluted market cap, right, USD, by the end of the year. And we were actually like exactly on track for that. And we hit 80 cents. And the week that we anticipated to get to $1.40, $1.50 was the week that we announced our testimonial by Kevin O'Leary, like famous American billionaire. We got an NFT. We had our first NFT auction purchased by Lindsay Lohan for $80,000. And we also got to #1 trending on Binance collection, as well as top 2 all-time sales on Binance within I believe 3 or 4 days. And all of that literally happened the exact same week the downtrend happened. And by the end of that week, our token value was at the lowest it's ever been. So we, we did a lot of kind of like investigation internally. We thought it was our issue at first, but at the end of the day, the biggest learning is you can't fight macros. Like if we release huge news, but there's no buyers in the market, you're like, there's no point doing it, right? So given that lesson and given the advice that actually many of you have given us personally, a lot of the things that we talked about today, like we're holding off and we're not announcing it until the end of the Chinese New Year time, because people are still just like, they're holding their breath right now. No one knows what's happening in the market. And it's after the Chinese New Year's that the market typically picks back up. So that's when we want to start announcing things. On top of that, another learning is to increase our players to investor ratios. And when I mean investors, I mean like crypto investors in the general open market on like Uniswap or any other trading platforms. And the reason for that is because, see, in the past, a lot of people bought into other tokens just for the hype, for the FOMO, and just, they want to ride the wave of that growth. So there's a lot of speculators, but no one actually played the game, right? But the issue with that type of token holder in a downtrend economy is that everyone's seeing the graph, no one likes the trend, so people aren't willing to put the investment down. However, if they're incentivized beyond just the investment and they actually play the game, then they're more likely to hold, right? So that's the type of people that we want to be Oly holders, not just speculators, right? We want people to actually immerse in the metaverse. So that leads to the third point, which is obviously the importance of building community and marketing. And I'll be brutally honest, like upfront, our marketing community needed to be improved, right? So that was, our team is strong in development. I would say arguably we have one of the strongest development teams compared to like comparable projects. But our weak point is on the marketing and community end. So we drastically upgraded that. We've hired multiple community managers. We have a director of marketing community right now, and you can just see for yourself, like if you go on our community now versus a month ago, even it's like day and night, right? There's a lot more positivity. There's a lot more interactions happening. So that too is already kind of like being improved. The next thing is the importance of hiring the right caster or spokesperson. And this concept I didn't get initially because I thought it's like, if it's a good project, the product speaks for itself, right? But lo and behold, just last week, one of my friends since university, so we've known each other for like 6 years now. She's known as the Queen of Esports in Toronto, right? She has a huge personality on League of Legends, and now she's offered to help us with our game casting, right? So that's been like, that actually made a huge difference within our community, really changed the conversation around. And I guess gamers just really like having like a spunky, cute Asian girl as the spokesperson for the game that really connected with our audience. So the last thing is our token price. So previously we marked that as our #1 KPI. But that really wasn't a good idea because like we mentioned, there was a lot of things that impact the token price outside of our control. So right now we're doubling down on monitoring two drivers: our MAU, our monthly active users, we're players, as well as our monthly active horses. So how many horses are playing our game? And that's really what keeps the engine going in our metaverse. So now I come to this slide, and I would say personally, this is my favorite slide, right? So I'm really excited to share this with you. So I'm just going to ask a question. You don't have to answer it verbally, but how many of you have tried the Oculus Rift, right? How many of you within the past couple of months have tried the new VR experience? So personally for me, like I've been really kind of like diving into this, the entire VR experience and how it's upgraded so much just within the past couple of months. And everything that we're saying about the metaverse, this isn't a 10-year plan. Like it's happening today. Like meetings are going to be hopefully the next meeting we have is going to be in the metaverse, right? Really want to really pushing for that. But nonetheless, like I want to describe to you how our metaverse will unfold, right? So in the future, imagine being able to put on, this pair of glasses where, your VR headset, and being able to actually walk through the racetrack and all of the amenities surrounding that there, right? Be it, I'm just reading off of this graph here, like you can actually participate in the races itself, right? There's going to be races intended for the charity element. We call it Oly Care internally for now, that goes to support animal welfare and taking retired horses out of like out of slaughter, right? Many of them are slaughtered after they're finished competing. So really helping with that narrative, whether that's the horse stable itself, right? Being a part of it, you can actually just literally walk there, just like you'll walk in person and be able to pet your own horse and see your friend's horse. Being able to walk a little bit further out to the farmland that you own, right? To the Jinxin farm that you're harvesting to feed and sell to other players. Whether that's going in and going to network events, right? So maybe KPMG, Ernst and Young, and given the type of clientele that would watch horse racing, it's a very kind of high-end environment to network in. So we have corporations that can secure networking events and keynote speakers in this in our kind of in our conference rooms, right? Whether it's having poker tournaments or other mini games that is hosted, having a live cinema viewing, right? Obviously on brand, some connected to the to the horse racing and nature and all that, as well as having virtual celebrities have concerts, right? And hosting that and allowing people to maybe see it on the racetrack itself, or maybe offhand on a separate celebrity hall. So all in all, you got to think about this again, beyond just horse racing. Who are the people we're tackling, right? These are crypto investors. These are people that's interested in the game, but are also very professional. We're very wealthy, and we want to create the perfect atmosphere for this psychographic to thrive in. So beyond that, again, we're going to be expanding our idea of the real world connection, right? Having already engaged horse racetrack partnerships, digitalizing legendary real life horses, as well as real life land ownership. We're going to have a third-party API for betting. So yeah, again, we're not a betting company, but we're allowing other people to run betting offsite for us. And also having VR entertainment centers, right? Playing video games in between races while they're waiting to really, get more entertainment. And also it's another revenue driver for us. So that brings me to the last point, and I would say the most important point in order for all of us to achieve this vision that we've described. We realize that what we've just said is a huge dream, and we cannot do it alone. We need your support. And I'll tell you this, the number one challenge beyond community, beyond marketing, beyond anything that we face as a company, the number one challenge we've had in our company is that small VCs are dumping our tokens whenever the token price, when the token price is already very low, right? Because of the macro market, the token price is low. VCs aren't holding, they're dumping. And because of that, that impacts the psychology of the market, and the public holders that already believe in our game, now they have a reason to think otherwise. And then the tokens become lower. The Oly holders trust us, and we need our VCs. We need the first believers of our product and our project to also trust us. So because of this, my ask for you today, ladies and gentlemen, is to hold your Oly for the next 4 months. Not even selling a penny from February to March. With your blessing and support, we will lock all of the VC's wallets so that it will ensure that the project will thrive and that the vision that I've presented here today is going to come to fruition. There's a lot of psychology right now. There's a lot of game theory, tragedy of the commons, where other VCs don't know what other VCs are doing and people are scared. We need to limit that, because at the end of the day, when I pitched to you, I pitched you a vision that I promised you that I'm going to try my best to make happen. And we need everyone's support in order for us to realize that. However, I am fair. So if you insist that you don't want to support us in the long term, if you insist that you don't want to be a part of this vision, then send Alex a direct message and we're going to open up your wallets for you. You can dump as much as you want. We're going to accept the worst case scenario. But we're also going to know that that's where you stand, and we're going to respect it, and we're going to move forward from there. So at the end of the day, right now, we need you to choose your side. Do you choose the side of Oly Sport and the long-term vision of us, or do you choose a different side? And the reason why, I'll tell you this is probably the hardest professional decision I've ever had to make, right? whether it's working in, the metaverse, in my previous business. And the reason why is because this industry is so young that the vesting schedule that was quote unquote status quo didn't really prepare our project for a crypto downtrend. And the current vesting schedule that's employed, when there's no buying pressure, but VCs are getting their shares vested and then selling, obviously there's a certain trend that's going to happen, which is downwards, right? So again, we can't fight the macros, but we can control the internals so that we can all win together. So with all of that said, please have empathy for us. Please know where we're coming from. Please know that we're genuine people trying to do genuine things and with a genuine purpose. And I really thank you so far for all the trust and support you've given us. We truly would not be here without you today. And from the bottom of our heart, we wish that all of you can be with us in the future to come as well. Now, the second ask is something a little bit lighter, and that is to bring Oly Sport to your communities, just like you always have, but doing it more so because we're about to launch our main net. Help us share on social media posts, right? Put it on Telegram, Discord, to the newest, on all of our newest community updates, whether that's Pink Lloyd, whether that's launching our mainnet and all of the other things that we have in place for us. Collaborate with us and tell us, help us host events together, right? We have a budget set out. We'll pay you to help us with this, right? But put us on more AMAs, right? Help us with more airdrops and collaborative events. And on top of that, help us connect to reputable partners that can help us accelerate this project, whether it's KOLs, marketing, community groups, or anything else you have in mind. Join our testnet, try it out, try in the mainnet, and see for yourself the vision that I'm talking about. See how it unfolds, and see that we're, like everything that we're seeing, we're implementing, and that we're following to the T our roadmap. And lastly, and probably most important for community members, let's share with them that you trust us and our project, because people look up to you and people respect you. The last ask that I will have is that we're now engaged with the Series A equity financing round. Again, this is very ripe. We've just been in talks for 2 weeks. We haven't even finalized our pitch deck yet, but come after the Chinese New Year's, we're going to be very serious in raising funds. So please introduce us to any potential investors for Series A. We're calling in, at the moment, this might change, we're calling in 10 million to expand our ecosystem. So with all that said, thank you so much for being a part of the Oly journey. We're now open to any questions that you might have. So I know that was a lot to take in, but any questions you might have, or even thoughts, what you think, and especially nearing the end, like what you think about our future, about us as people, like just feel free to share anything. I see Chris here, you raised your hand. I didn't even know that was a function here. Go for it.
Thanks, Jimmy. Well, at Schulich here at the business school at York University, we use the 4th largest university in Canada. We use Zoom for all our teaching, so I'm very familiar with all the functions. Anyways, thanks for the presentation today. And speaking as an investor myself personally, one, I want to say I really appreciate the level of detail and thought that you put into the presentation. I sit in on a lot of these sessions for my own investments, but also on the companies that are in the wider community, and it was really well done. And you're very open and not just trying to give us the good news, but sharing the challenges along the way. And that's why I've continued to invest in and believe in you and your project, because of that dedication to being open and really sharing with us as a group. I want to say that for me, I think that in my history with my companies, the greatest growth spurts, the 3 biggest growth spurts I had in building the largest email marketing platform in Canada came during crisis, right? It didn't come during easy times. It came during crisis, because crisis gives you the ability to time travel and leap forward when everybody else freezes and freaks out and runs away and gets weeded out of what's possible. This is where the real giants are created. Even in the history of business, if you look to the creation of Samsung, right? it was, and Panasonic, these companies were forged in like crisis and became the giants of industry. So I'm 100% behind what you're doing. And I will tell you right now that I'll give you my personal pledge and commitment in front of all the other shareholders, investors, that I will lock, you can lock, we will lock my wallet up and hold. It's the right thing to do, not only for ourselves, like we'd be foolish to sell now compared to what you're going to build. I believe in you. I believe in the project. I played the game earlier this week. I had a ton of fun. It was amazing. My horse came in third, but that's okay. It was great fun and I had a good time. But I'm 100% behind that strategy of locking up. And when I look at the things that you're doing, like there's 100 things to like in the plan, but I really love what you're doing to bring the metaverse to the physical world. And I think we should continue to like double down on those kinds of strategies. Securing Pink Lloyd is a huge win, and having that first iconic horse to show that this is a way that the real world horses are going to come into the game. I love it. And for those of you who are not familiar, perhaps internationally, with the Stronach Group and Mr. Stronach and what he's achieved as a global business person in the auto sector, and how he built his fortune and his family's place in the political history of the country here. And now his group's racing interests. It's a very big personal passion of his over his career. The fact that they're now ready to get connected is very exciting. So I'm excited. I don't care what the token price is now. It is irrelevant to me and would be the most ridiculous thing for me to sell. This is like, an opportunity that I know you're personally committed to, and I trust you, and you have my full support.
Thank you, Chris. As my mentor since day one, even with the previous venture, it means a lot coming from you. Thank you so much. Okay, anyone else with questions? Feel free to just speak up. If you don't know how to raise your hand. Okay, Sophie.
Hi guys, I'm Sophie here from BV Capital. I just want to say that it's a wonderful presentation, and it is our honor to be participate with you guys from the beginning. And we want to say that we see this project in the long term, and we will definitely support what you guys doing right now, and we will do our best and to do the marketing and to help you guys do more brand exposure. And may I offer you my personal advice, and maybe just from our past experience, we're from a market making background. Actually, for now, the bearish market now is, I just do not care too much about the price right now. The token price means nothing right now, because if the price pump up and people will sell it. So do not follow do not do against the market turn. Do not do anything for the token price now, and just focus more on the private market. But after the market turns to the, after the market past the bearish market, and then just combine the private market and the secondary market together to make a bigger exposure. That is our advice. So we will support you all the time, and please log our wallet. And thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sophie. That really means a lot. And I think on behalf of you as well, many other VCs, especially Hatu, I actually think he left here. He's the CMO of DAOmaker. He's been advising us the same strategy. So definitely we're following that. We have some of the best market makers in the industry helping us now. So yes, very much on part with exactly what you're saying. Definitely taking that advice. Thank you, Sophie.
Yeah.
Amazing. Opening up to anyone else. And I guess while we wait, just feel free to chime in if you have questions. And Alex, maybe if you have anything to say as well, feel free to chime in.
Hey, Jimmy, you might almost want to read out a couple of the items from the chat there in terms of people are giving you the support.
I'm not even, I'm just seeing the
Like,
video. Okay.
yeah, just like Steven saying, like, you've got his support in terms of the plan. And so you might just want to read it for everybody who might not be in the chat to see the level of commitment that people are offering.
Yeah, totally. So Steven says future money will support the project as a long-term holder. Thanks. Amazing.
You missed the previous email from the previous message.
Alex, why don't you read it? I think you've been
Sure.
more in touch with it.
Yeah, so Steven also says, sorry guys, my flight is taking off in 2 minutes and I need to leave now. Thank you, Oly team, for the amazing presentation and for the work you guys done. It's really impressive. I personally very concerned about your equity fundraising. I will follow up with you later this week. Forgive me if I'm too pessimistic about the coming trend about crypto market. From our last experience during 2018, 2020, 90% of companies not survive through the bear market. Those lucky ones have the common points. Number one, enough cash from VC, not crypto VC. Number two, great product. And number three, healthy communities. Keep building. And he say future money will support the project as a long-term holder, and thank you. And Ling from OneBit is asking for a documentation of the meeting. So for sure, we'll be sending you and everyone the recording of this video. Larry from Basic Capital, he say, hey guys, you did a great job. Basic Capital will try our best to support. And sorry, I might go to another meeting. And yeah, and that's all the chat. So yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you, Stephen, Chris, Larry, and Sophie for speaking up and sharing what you're thinking about us. Like, I know Jimmy has been doing, the hard job. He's been doing, all the talking of he's a brain behind all this thing that you're seeing right here on the screen. So I just want to say I'm very touched and I'm very happy and honored to know all of you, our VCs right from the beginning and supporting us through, the hardest time. So yeah, thank you so much.
Oh yeah, and I do want to say, like, on behalf of those who aren't here, and you guys can see the list, there was actually a number of our holders and VCs that actually advised us on this particular strategy of locking the wallets as well. Just they can unfortunately attend in person today, but we have their support as well. I just want to make that clear. So we're going to be broadcasting this to anyone that's missed the meeting so that everyone will be updated on what's going on. So if you have any other questions, and again, like maybe there's some things you don't want to express in front of everyone, and we're completely cool with that. So please just write to us personally and we can have a one-to-one discussion as well for that. Okay. So without all that said, thank you everyone so much for your time and for your support so far. And we just, like, we're looking forward to going to the moon and taking this project forward into the metaverse. So thank you so much. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. I think we're going to end the meeting now, Jimmy.
Yep. Just
all right.
wondering if I need to end the recording before that, just in case.
Oh yeah, let me do that.
Yeah.
Okay.